Having grown up with the development of the modern piano, Chopin's playing and compositions for the instrument were keenly tuned to its newly acquired potential. Let's look at some of the composer's innovations in piano music. We can start with Chopin's basic texture. Simply stated, this was to play the melody with the right hand, which normally plays the upper notes of the piano, and the accompaniment with the left, which normally covers the lower register. Here's an example from Chopin's Barcarolle. Notice the accompaniment figure, which supports the melody. The standard accompaniment of this type during the classical period was a pattern of harmonies, broken up into a succession of single notes called Alberti bass. It sounds something like this. We find this accompaniment figure in countless sonatas by Mozart, Haydn, and their contemporaries. No doubt, the most familiar example is from Mozart's Little C Major Sonata, known to millions of piano students. In it, the right hand still plays the melody, and the left hand still plays the accompaniment. Comparing that accompaniment figure to the one in Chopin's Barcarolle, we notice several things. First, Chopin's figure is rhythmically more varied. It contains shorter and longer notes, whereas those of the Mozart sonata are evenly spaced. Second, and this is very characteristic of Chopin, it covers a far wider range of pitches. Mozart's figure, which fits neatly under the 5 fingers of the left hand, is confined to a span of just 6 notes. By contrast, the range of Chopin's accompaniment is twice that span. And this is relatively constrained compared to, for example, the accompaniment line that runs throughout the Nocturne in E-flat major, number 2. Here Chopin covers a span of nearly 3 octaves in just the first measure. Even when he uses the familiar waltz pattern of bass note followed by 2 chords, Chopin spreads the figure out over a large portion of the keyboard. So instead of this, we get this. As in Chopin's beautiful C-sharp minor waltz, Opus 64, number 2. By expanding his left-hand figures in this way, Chopin was not being merely capricious, he was exploiting the potential for richer sound offered by the larger pianos that were coming into use during the 1820s and 1830s. The wider span of the accompaniment imparts a depth to the piano sound it would otherwise lack. Returning to the accompaniment figure of the Barcarolle, we can make one further observation about this aspect of Chopin's writing in comparison with that of his predecessors. Simply stated, Chopin's accompaniments are generally more difficult to play than those of the classical period composers, and they often have a great deal more character. Certainly, Chopin enlarged the possibilities of the left hand and the lower part of the keyboard. An admittedly extreme example, but one that makes the point vividly, is the third of the 24 Preludes, Opus 28. Here the entire piece is a study in running left-hand figuration. Listen. Chopin's flowing accompaniment figures often create a kind of rippling sound that is magical, a sound which no instrument, other than the piano, can produce. The impromptu in C-sharp minor provides one of many examples I could offer. At a faster tempo, this sort of figuration produces a feeling of agitation or exhilaration.